Okay, welcome. We're going to do some write-on effect using After Effects today. We're going to use this to add some text to one of the surfaces of our video that we're doing for our special effect end of year project, special effects, motion tracking. All right, so let's go ahead and do it. Let's start a new project in After Effects, and within that, let's start a new composition, and I'm going to call this Write on Text. Let's do 1080 is good, 2997 is bad. We actually need to change this to 23976 for our frame rate. I think our clip is only maybe about 15 seconds long, so let's make our time 15 seconds. The footage we shot is actually 4K footage, but I'll probably down-res it to 1920 by 1080, so it'll be a little bit easier for our computers to deal with it. So click OK. Now, first thing we need to do is create a text layer. And this one, I'm going to Command T to get my text tool, and I'm going to try to go somewhere in the center, and I'm going to type something short. Countdown. Ready? Okay, let's do ready.
Ready? Okay.
Ready? Okay. And then I'm going to go to the paragraph tab, and I'm going to center that. And then just to make sure it really is in the center of my screen, I'm going to hit Command Home. That'll put it right in the middle. Then I'm going to go to my character tab, make this quite a bit bigger, because I want to have plenty of resolution to deal with here. Nice and big. Now I'm going to find a font that I really want to use, and I kind of want to do something semi-strong. I guess Helvetica is kind of strong,
Boring.
but it is boring. Well, I guess. It's really popular. If we really, actually, I don't know if you guys have, some of these script ones are really good. I don't know if you have some of these though. Oh, Sign Painter. Do you guys all have Sign Painter?
Yep.
Let's do that one then. That one's a good one. All right. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my pen tool to draw a mask. And the idea here is that I'm going to draw a mask that kind of mimics the path that I would take with a pen. But not exactly. I mean, you kind of, not exactly the lines that you would take if you were writing a pen, because I used to kind of draw this line that would go out and around here and then way out to the side and then up. The effect goes fast enough that as long as you kind of are able to rough in with the line of your pen tool, you'll be fine. So I'm actually going to start with my line out here. And then, whoops, I guess a shape tool is fine. I actually want to create a mask on the text itself. I'm going to go through each letter and just trace the text with my pen tool. For those of you who are perfectionists, you don't have to get it absolutely perfect. but somewhere near the center of each of these strokes is good. Now notice what I did with the A. I went around here and then around again. That'll be fine. You can, if you want to, and that's just so I could make sure I got that bottom one. I actually kind of like the way that path is going.
How do you change it to no fill?
If you are getting a fill, then you're not drawing a mask, you're drawing a new shape layer.
Oh, okay. So how do I?
Boink. Go ahead and delete that shape layer. Select your text layer again, and then use your pen tool with the text layer selected. Hopefully it'll draw a mask. The reason why I started drawing a shape is because the first time I clicked on it with my pen tool, I clicked outside this binding box, which deselected it and made a shape layer.
Okay.
So
You can take the path from your shape layer. So the way you want, if you did start making a shape layer, oh whoops, there I go again.
Very far because it wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're going like this and you've got like this fill going in, just click on this fill word and deselect it.
Oh.
So this red stroke says no fill. Question?
So are we supposed to be making the mask around each letter or tracing it?
You're tracing the inside
Okay.
of each of these. See, I actually, let me make my mask a different color so we can see it better.
Are you going around the dots or just poking it in the dot?
Open it.
Uh,
On the
Right.
red after the ready?
oh, I just put a anchor in the middle of each one. All right, just for giggles, let me do this. Let me do this with a shape layer path as well, just so you can kind of get the idea. And I'm going to do this one even more rough. Oops. All right, so I've got two options here. All right, now what we need to do is there are a couple of different things. I'm going to turn off this shape layer for now because it's actually drawn a line through the middle of all this. I'm going to try to put the write-on effect directly on the ready text. Sometimes this doesn't work because usually the write-on filter takes its coordinates from the top left-hand corner of the stage and not from the layer. So let's see what happens if I just do this straight on here. So I'm going to select the text layer, the ready text layer, and I'm going to go to my effects and presets, type in write, there's write-on, and I'm going to drop that directly on the text layer. Now what I need to do is, first of all, I'm going to increase my brush size so there you can see the write-on effect right there in the middle. And I'm going to increase the hardness to 100%. Then I'm going to keep the brush opacity at 100. Stroke length, is 0, which means it'll stay forever. And then brush spacing, I'll show you what that means, but we're going to put that all the way down as far as we can, and I'll show you why in just a minute. Then the last thing we need to do is under paint style, we need to, instead of on original image, we need to have it reveal the original image. Okay, so there's the effect, and it's revealing, see as I move the effect around, it's revealing the image. So what will happen is, as I keyframe this, it's going to leave a line behind it that will reveal the letters underneath as it progresses forward. Okay, so what we need to do is use the path of our mask and give the brush position the mask shape to follow over time. Okay, so what we need to do first of all is with the brush position over here, go back to go to the beginning of your timeline by hitting home or dragging that all the way over, and then we need to turn on keyframes for the brush position. Now go down to your timeline and hit M to reveal your mask path. You have to select mask path because you need the path.
Oh, right.
All right, so select mask path and hit Command C to copy it. Then, because we already made a keyframe for the brush position of our write-on effect, if we hit U to uncover that keyframe, there's brush position right there. Select brush position and hit Command V. And what that does is it takes every point that you drew in that mask and it turns it into a keyframe location for your brush position. Now watch what happens as I scroll along. It writes on my text.
Mine only writes on half of it.
Mine didn't write on anything.
Yep.
Okay.
Mine kind of misses spots.
Okay, so if you're, there are a few different things that might be going on here. Yours could look like this.
Yeah.
Okay, if that's the case, you need to turn your brush spacing as close to 0 as you can. And that's why we change that brush spacing. Really all it is how frequently it's going to lay down a dot. And if you put that down to 0.001, then it's trying to put those dots as close together as you can to create a solid line. Question?
What if it is at 0.001 and it's still kind of splotchy?
If it's still splotchy, then let's troubleshoot that. So let's go to the first position of our brush position. Are you seeing a little little mark right there? See that little mark? So hopefully what you want is for that mark to be hitting that first point in your path. If it's not, what you need to do is, it's actually a lot easier if you go to your final keyframe so that you can see the last point of my path is right there. Let me make my mask an even easier color to see.
It's like my mask got expanded.
Yeah.
And it's bigger than what I did it originally.
It did?
It's ending like an inch,
'Kay.
2 inches over from where I ended.
Okay, so in theory what probably happened to you is something like this,
Right.
maybe?
Yeah.
Okay,
it's
so
off.
So what you have to do to get that back on, see that little crosshair right there? That represents your brush position. That's where your effect is. Okay? So I'm at the very last keyframe in my timeline for the brush position, which will be at 2 seconds, because by default, if you do that pasting, it's a 2-second animation. So what you do is you select the word brush position to select all the keyframes with your playhead on that last keyframe. Then you have to drag your coordinates of that effect so that that dot lines up on the last mark of your mask. And then hopefully that'll put all of your all your marks over the top of it again.
Mine
Question?
didn't put any keyframes.
It didn't paste any of them?
No, it didn't do any of them.
You don't have any of this?
Nope.
Okay, let's go back a step then. Whoops. All right. So if I hit M and select the mask path, hit Command C, then go. I deleted all my keyframes, so I have to hit E to reveal my write-on effect. Then twirl down all these settings, turn on my brush position. If I highlight my brush position and hit Command V, it'll paste the write-on effect keyframes right on that path. Did that work for you?
Oh, shoot, yeah, but now it's backwards. What?
Is it writing on from back to front?
It's writing on it from like starting like halfway over. What the heck?
Is it ending off to the side over here?
Yeah.
Okay, what you'd have to do now is put your playhead on this final keyframe at 2 seconds. Select brush position to make sure all your keyframes turn blue.
Yeah.
Then drag the coordinates of that so that your little mark here is landed right on your final mark of your mask. Now what I'm going to do is drag my brush size down so that it's only just barely big enough to reveal all the text. Because as it writes on, if you have a really, really big line, see how much extra of the word is being written on right here? Or the letter, I should say. All right.
So are you adjusting your brush size down here in the mask, or are you doing it up there in the?
It's in the effect. The brush size in the effect. It's right here or right here, because I revealed my brush right on. Okay, I'm going to do it again.
Alright, let's
The
go
second
to
way.
the very beginning though.
Okay, so remember how I drew that same another mask on a shape layer?
Uh-huh.
If I want to reveal the path of that shape layer, I can go to my search thing in my timeline and type in path, and that'll reveal the path for my shape layer. I can do the same thing. I can copy that path with it selected, and I can paste it onto the brush position. But yeah, hopefully that worked. Yeah, it worked again.
So I have my text, and I have my thing my mask path, right? And I just click on where it says mask path, and I hit Command C. Copy.
Mhm.
I drag right on over the text layer because I haven't done that yet.
Okay.
I want to change the paint style to reveal original image.
Yep.
I want the hardness to be 100%
Yep.
and the brush size to be a little bit bigger.
Yep.
So it
And
shows
you want the brush spacing to be
really small.
as small as you can go, which is 0.001.
Okay, and then, so now when I do brush position, I click on the stopwatch. And then I just click on brush position so it's highlighted,
And then
I
you,
hit Command V.
yep, and that'll paste those path positions.
Okay, so it started like in the middle of my frame.
Okay,
like
let me
above
come
my
help you.
A.
Okay, we had a pixel aspect ratio problem going on, so it was throwing the coordinates of the write-on off. That makes sense. Okay, one thing I want to do here now is I'm going to go to this last keyframe and add easing to the final keyframe, and then I'm going to go to my graph editor and go to the speed editor. And I always like to just crank that up a little bit more. And then, last thing is I don't need that to take 2 seconds. I'd rather it take 1 second. Okay. So like I said, it's going to go so fast that most people aren't really going to perceive the imperfection of the write-on. And then if we want to, we can come down here to the end. And as soon as I grab one of these little dots, because these little dots are just roving across time, but as soon as I grab one and move it, it'll turn it into a diamond. And because I put 1, 2, 3, 4 marks at the very end, each one of those marks is going to represent one of those dots. So I can manipulate these keyframes a little bit if I want to like spread out the ellipses being drawn on. Yeah. And then see how this one's slowly drawing on that first ellipses? And then they're like kind of each being drawn on a little bit slower. If I go to each one of these diamonds now and do Command Option Control H, that'll hold the keyframes so that it'll just go at the end. Then this last keyframe doesn't even matter because it's off to the side. So I can keep it or not. Ready. Okay, so you can do your name. You can do some other title. You can say missile launch. You can say countdown. I was going to do countdown originally, but the fewer the letters, the easier. Question?
So I'm trying to select the last couple dots and move just them, but when I select them, it moves the whole thing, kind of like the last keyframe.
Yeah, so what you have to do is take the dot before it and turn it into a diamond, and then you can turn the subsequent ones into diamonds because all the little squares or all the little dots in between the diamonds are going to just expand and contract no matter where you move the diamonds.
Okay. Well,
They'll all adjust their time so that it's like an accordion
how do
going
you
in
turn
and
it
out.
into a diamond though?
Just click on it and move it to the side. Move it anywhere. And that'll turn it into a hard keyframe. Any other questions? Say, for example, right here, all these little ones, if I just grab one and move it slightly to the side, it'll turn it into a diamond. That'll happen with any of them. Each one of these dots represents one of my axes on my mask. So now that I've got my effect looking right, I can delete my mask and my shape layer. And then it's a lot easier to look at. Okay, so if you want to do kind of an echo look where you have different colors following each other, you can just duplicate this layer a few times and then you change the color of each subsequent layer of text. So if I change this one to a deep red and then turn this one to a lighter, turn this one even lighter, then it kind of creates like a gradient look right on.
That's cool.
And then if I turn on motion blur, it could probably help it a little bit more. Unless motion blur has a write-on effect. It's not. Yeah.
Now you said you deleted your mask.
Yeah. So now what we could do is pre-comp this into another comp. And it'll be a ready-made animation to put on our motion tracked footage. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. Okay. Thanks, everybody.